Hey everyone, we're Team 14, and today we're going to be talking about the Spanish involvement in World War II. At the beginning of World War II, Spain had just ended the Spanish Civil War, which lasted from 1936 until 1939. The war was fought between the Republic government and the nationalist rebels. The nationalists were led by General Francisco Franco. During the Civil War, Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy provided military aid to the nationalists as a way to support them and to test new weapons. Germany sent about 16,000 men, 200 tanks, and 600 planes, while Italy sent approximately 75,000 men, 150 tanks, and 660 aircraft. The Republic received aid from the Soviet Union and international brigades. Britain, France, and the United States, however, had a policy of non-intervention which made it difficult for the Republic to purchase arms. The Nationalists won the war in 1939, and Francisco Franco became dictator of Spain. When the war ended, Spain was greatly indebted to Italy and Germany.
Following the Civil War, the Spanish Republicans, of about 60,000 strong, fled to France and joined the French Regiment and Foreign Legion. Winston Churchill of England authorized millions of dollars in bribes to Spanish generals in an effort to influence General Franco against entering the war on the side of Germany. In May 2013, files were released showing MI6 spent the present-day equivalent of more than $200 million bribing senior Spanish military officers, ship owners, and other agents to keep Spain out of the war. This led the Spanish to not declare war against either the Axis or Allied powers, but to remain on the fence. They did not want to anger the Allies to the immediate west or the Axis to the immediate east, so they created a volunteer force.
So going back to the strong 60,000 Republicans that fled out of Spain during the Spanish Civil War, they actually got exiled into France, and mainly the southern parts of France, which led them to refugee camps. To improve their condition, many of the Spaniards joined the French Foreign Legion in the start of the World War II and made up a large proportion of the army. Many Spanish soldiers fought against Francisco Franco as guerrillas, so directly fighting a two-front war against the Axis, and many other Spaniards fought directly against Axis powers directly. Spain, throughout World War II, never declared war against either the Allies or Axis, but intentionally aided Adolf Hitler to fight against Bolshevism, or better known as Soviet communism. When Germany started controlling major parts of Europe, Adolf Hitler intended Franco and major parts of Spain to invade areas of Africa and Europe. Spain's geography was very important to Adolf Hitler in World War II because it gave direct access to North Africa. In North Africa, it was a direct port for Americans to, when joining the war, to deploy troops and ships close enough to Europe. By taking aside, Franco declared a lot of threat because the fall of the Axis powers would lead to dictatorship being removed from the European countries and the fall of Francisco Franco. In assisting Germany, Franco asked for two countries specifically, Morocco and Cameroon, and major parts of southern France, but Adolf Hitler refused the proposition, and which led to the Spaniards not declaring war in World War II. Though the Spanish did not directly fight in World War II, they invaded the city of Tangier in Morocco, which was 17 miles away from Spain. And they also used to be an international zone, later given back after the war.
This volunteer force, called the Special Division, Division Azul, famous for the siege of Leningrad. On June 24, 1941, Hitler approved of the use of the Spanish volunteers for the Axis, which was the Blue Division and the Blue Squadron, a total of about 18,000 men. This Blue Squadron was the volunteer air force for Spain, and the Blue Division was the army. 1942, at the Battle of Krasny-Bur, the Blue Division of roughly 6,000 men fought off the Red Army of Russia, which was nearly 30,000 men strong. This battle was fought to give the armies at the siege of Leningrad more time, and the effort provided a whole year. The battle resulted in nearly 75% of their army in casualties. Such an act of valor was recognized by Adolf Hitler, and they were given a medal of recognition to honor them, this being the very first medal of its kind.
Between 1936 and 1947, in Francisco, Spain, Franco concentration camps were created and coordinated by the Servicio de Colonias Penitenciarias Militarizadas. Those incarcerated were Republican ex-combatants of the Spanish Republican Army, Spanish Republican Air Force, or the Spanish Republican Navy, and political descendants. In these forced labor camps, the laborers were forced to reconstruction works, mine coal, extract mercury, build highways, dams, and dig canals. During the time, the laborers were forced to construct the Carabacha prison of the Valley of the Fallen and the Arco of de la Victoria. Many were subcontracted to private companies and landowners used to improve their properties. Spain continued to be ruled under Francisco Franco's military dictatorship for 36 years after the end of World War II.